Mary Meet, Annie here. This video is a response to Annika. And Elfwife, you did a wonderful video response to this already. And I thought, well, there's nothing else I can say. You said it all. The video response is to a "What does being pagan mean to you?" that Annika did for us. And it was a really interesting video that she put out there. And I wish we would have seen a lot more responses to it. What does being a pagan mean to me? So I sat down to think about it. And I was struggling with, in a way, it meant something to me. And in a way, it meant nothing to me whatsoever. Because the term just doesn't particularly resonate with me as meaning anything specifically. So I went back to, when did I first start calling myself a pagan? And it was in my first baby witch years. And it was as much a call out, a way to recognize each other as it was anything else. I was only meeting, at that point, traditional Wiccans. And we were just starting to meet others who did things like us, or maybe not like us, but that we had an awful lot in common with. We were just beginning to have that sense that community wasn't cloistered, it wasn't solitary necessarily, it wasn't even as small as our covens, that it was bigger than that, that there was almost a movement, a flow, a gathering of like-minded souls that needed some rallying call, a flag to stand beneath. And then we started calling each other pagans. And we didn't do it because, yeah, we had teachers chanting to us the dictionary version of the people of the countryside, or the heathens, or the other dictionary explanations of what the pagan was. We kind of saw that paganism was taking on a meaning of everything that was not the three, was not Christianity, was not Judaism, was not Islam. It was everything else other than that. Which meant a lot of things that we were finding kinship with. Not that we were exactly alike, but that we'd find these really cool things we had in common. I remember sitting around a fire once, and it was in a midsummer fire, because we were talking about kingship and queenship and community coming together. We were talking about, which we're still talking about on YouTube to this very moment, labels. What do we want to call ourselves within our circles, and then when we represented ourselves outwardly. And we all settled on pagan was as good as anything else. And I still remember that one of our teachers said something to us, which I have embraced. I do comfortably call myself a pagan. And I remember this person saying, one of the dictionary definitions for a pagan was somebody who practiced a form of polytheism, belief in multiple gods. Well, I remember still that the conversation around this bonfire at midsummer was not necessarily. You could really debate some forms of Wicca which see the gods as a representation of unity, being maybe not so much polytheistic. But if paganism if paganism was polytheism in the sense that within the umbrella of the pagan world there was polytheism, people believing in many different gods, many different energy forms, connection with nature. And we also talked at the time at something which sometimes as we go forward I think of it fondly and wish it were still more like that. Other times I find it's still like that, and then I get a flow of disenchantment, I should say, with the community, and I wish it were like that. That paganism was polytheism in the sense of respecting that we all had these different takes on things, that even within a certain label, we might be different from person to person. Our experiences would have taught us different things. We may have been taught differently. We may have been totally self-taught and be totally independent from views and influences of others. What paganism meant in those days really was that rallying call, that coming together, that community feeling. And what it's sometimes lacking today, and I don't just mean online, I mean when you meet or you try to meet others, it's lost that sense of rallying call. It's become, this is what a pagan should be. This is how you must behave. This is how you must believe. Instead of what it felt like, especially in the 70s, was community, recognizing each other. And the way we were recognizing that we were different from the others that we knew in our life, the more traditional religions, the more traditional communities, because we were experimenting with different ways of living and loving, not just celebrating our spirituality, all intertwined with each other. It was our politics, it was our way of being. It was about community. It wasn't about that dictionary definition. But I still remember this elder at this campfire that one midsummer saying, let's embrace that the dictionary definition about it being of the country suits us all. We all understand that we are one with the natural world, that there's no separation, there's no distinction between that and the divine, including no distinction between us and all of that. We are one with. And he said, let's embrace the dictionary definition of it as being polytheism. Not that any one of us necessarily felt they were polytheist, although many of us did, but that within the community, polytheism meant so many beautiful ways of experiencing and knowing the divine. So I'm going to hang on to that when it comes to what being a pagan means to me. It's being part of a community. It is recognizing in others a shared love of the land. Most often a shared honoring of the old ways in many different styles, but still an appreciation for ancient wisdom. And a coming together, a calling together, a bringing together to learn from and grow with each other. That's the most important thing of what being a pagan is to me. Community, gathering in and moving forward and creating something together. I still like that word and happily refer to myself as a pagan. But to me it's a communal term. It's a coming together. It's recognizing in each other some shared traditions, some shared beliefs. It's a very communal term for me, not specific to that dictionary definition, but it is about a coming together. It also feels like a way forward to me. There's been times in my life when being a pagan felt very lonely. There's other times it felt very family because I had others to be with and celebrate with. And I'd have to say at this point in my life, I need to add to that that the cyber community that we are part of and the way that we exchange here feels like pagan movement, taking something forward, the old ways becoming the future. That's what it's about for me, that term pagan. About coming together and recognizing each other, being with each other, learning from each other, celebrating with each other. I wish you all mirth and reverence. Merry part.